Hello class, good day. So I'm making this video because some of you are requesting for an explanation about the modules 3 and 4. So I've seen explanations sa YouTube about logic, but kanang buwag-buwag bitaw. So ako na lang ning gihimo so I can explain modules 3 and 4. But I hope that especially now, I know it's not easy for you as well. Ganang same na mo as teachers, kaya syempre maghimo-himo pa make modules, and in your part, of course, it's easier for you if there's someone who can guide you and teach you how to do it or how to understand the lesson. But since pandemic man ta karon, so I hope that you will do your best and try to be resourceful in looking at the internet, searching Google or YouTube to help you understand the lesson. Kay makatabang naman po ninyo, since college students naman mo, it's like a training for you when you kanang kung naana mo sa real world application na jud, especially if kanang nagtrabaho na mo. It's very important to be resourceful and to be on your own. Kay especially karon lagi nga panahon na kinahanglan kaayo nga you have to know how to learn on your own. Mas nindot man po na nga you have to learn to love learning kay and not just kanang magsalig sa teachers kung unsa ang i-input. Makatabang na ninyo. So I know kanang math is not it's not an easy subject for kanang everyone na adyo uban maglisod. But believe me, in my 5 years in college, when I was an engineering student, ang akong na realize na ang mathematics is like, kung ano ang mathematics, it's procedural, no? And tanawon lang na nimo giunsa na mag-base na kaana imo na ng sundog-sundugon, and it needs more practice. Practice yun ang pinaka-importante sa math. So, for you, karon sa una kayo pamaguna na mo, wa pa kaayo internet, wa pa YouTube nga mo matanawan. Sa inyong part karon as students, you have all the resources. You can check the internet, you can check YouTube for explanation para makatabang nga makasabot mo. So, before we start our lessons, before I start explaining modules 3 and 4, let me introduce myself. Kaya I think I owe you a self-introduction. Kaya gipangayuan na muna ako. So, I am Mrs. Pamela May Castro. I'm a graduate computer engineering. I have experience in the field of information technology as a web designer, but most of my experience were focused on finance because I was working in Manila for a long time as a senior business processing specialist, and we do disbursement transactions like loans, dividend withdrawals, o uban pa nga kanang disbursement transactions. Then when I got married, my husband and I decided to kind of settle down here in Bohol because he's also working here in Bohol as a regular employee. So dito nag-start ko as a tour coordinator / manager / web designer. So napo ko experience sa tourism industry because of that work. So after that, when I had a problem with my pregnancy, I had to stop, and I decided to stay at home as a full-time housewife. Kay aron okay po ang baby. So when I had a baby also, ipadayon na lang po na ako as a full-time wife and mother. And then when she's already a toddler, and I think it's time to work again, so I took the civil service exam in 2018, and luckily I passed it. And then after that, I enrolled in a qualifying class for 18 units lang sa UB for those who are degree holder and who want to become a teacher. Moto ni kuha ko ato, and then that was June. I finished it on November, and then basta the following year ato, I took the licensure for teachers right away. And sa Kaloy's Ginoo ni pasar po ko. So that's why I'm here as your teacher, and it's my first time in teaching. Dinabangay lang ta. And there. Basta if nahimo ninyo ang tanan, you've read your modules and you've checked the internet, so you learn the lesson, and then what pag yun, you can always kana ask me. You can shoot me a message in MS Teams. Mutubag ra po ko, or you can come here in school para ma-explainan po mo nako. I'm not saying that I know everything. I'll try my best. And I know some of you napay dili ko close-minded. I'm open for kanang, I know na students ka maayo jud. Okay, especially karon lagi nga the resources are kanang everywhere, especially in the net. Naidaghang butang, especially in the field of IT nga mas nakaibaw pa mo ug unsay new trends karon kaysa nako. So I'm open to that. And so magtinabangay lang ta. So let's proceed with modules 3 and 4 na. Okay. So we will start with the discussion. So we have here the definition of logic. Logic is the science of reasoning. So we have proposition. It's a statement which can be regarded as true or false, true value, and are denoted by small letters. Most use letters P, Q, R, S, and T, but others will also do. Okay, so ug dili gani pwede ang small letters, sometimes pwede gyapon gamiton ninyo ang capital letters for as long as kanang in sequence bitaw siya. First statement should be P, second Q, and so on. And then we also have the simple proposition. This is the single statement which does not contain any other statements as parts. Say for example, P. So P alone na dyan na siya. And then we have a compound proposition that contains kanang two or more statements. Two or more statements nga, say for example, gigamitan na siya o connectives. So say for example here, tanang sentence ani is considered a statement. So first we have here, dynamite is dangerous. So unsa may true value nimo ana? Of course, it's true. Kay tinuod man pod nga dangerous ang dynamite. Kay kung dili pa tinuod ang dynamite, imong truth value ani is false. Next we have here, elephants have wings. Nabay wings ang elephants? Iba wala. So the truth value ana niya is false. So for this one and this one, how are you and study your lesson well? You can't answer it with true or false man. So these are not considered propositions. No? These are not propositions. And this one, 5 is less than 10. Of course, it is true that 5 is less than 10. So the truth value of this one is true. This is also considered as a proposition since this is answerable by true or false. So for compound propositions, we're using logical connectives. So mo ni sila ang logical connectives. We have the negation, conjunction, logical connectives, disjunction, exclusive or, NAND, NOR, conditional o biconditional. So para sa negation, say for example, your statement is P and you have the symbol not P. So, ang negation mo sa P is not P. No. Say for example, ani, Anna likes to eat apple. So, ang negation ana is Anna doesn't like to eat apple. Next, we have here the conjunction. So, sa conjunction, ang gamiton nimo anang logical connectives can be and, or, but. And you use the symbol. It's like an inverted V. And when you write it, it's like this. Statement, Anna, then another statement. Okay? Next, we have the disjunction, wherein you use this one when you're using or connective. So you have the symbol, it's like a V, small v, and then when you write it, it's like this. Exclusive OR, ingani po na siya, suwaton, ingon ani. NAND, ingana ang symbol sa NAND, then when you write it, it's like this. NOR, it's like a arrow down, mo ni iyang syntax pag write. And then conditional, it's like I use this one when it implies or if there's an if then statement. Yeah, you use this one for if then statements. And then ang ako lang iklaro sa conditional kay I think daghang naglibog ani. For conditional, kung dili siya pareho, no? Kung dili siya pareho value, you have to follow the value next to the arrow. P arrow Q. If it's not the same, then you have to follow the value of Q. And then for biconditional, you use this one for if and only if statement. And you'll be using the symbol, and when you write it, it's like this. Okay. So I want you to focus on the tables here. Kaya ani mas makasabot. So, ang negation, muna example sa negation, say for example, you have a statement, single statement P. So, di ba, kung nakay single statement, duhay posibilidad mo na it's either true or false na siya. Table mo na itong gihimuan ni. So, these, kane, these are all combinations. Kane. Possible combinations na sa imong statements. Di ka mag-goal ang nagsani na kay mga combination na ni sila. So sa P, if you have one statement only, there's a possibility that your statement can be true or false. So if your statement, if in case that it's true, kung sa may negation ni mo ana, if it's true, then ang negation ni mo ana, not P is false. If the P is false, then ang negation ana, not P is true. Yan na lang. Sa conjunction pod, sa ganyang conjunction, it can be and or but. So, sa conjunction, you can use this one if you have two statements, no? Magamit ka and or but. So, say for example, you have statement P and Q. So, ang imong possible combinations, ana, can be true, false, false, true, false, false. Again, di nimo ni kinahanglang isolve kay given na siya. Mo ni siya ang possible combination jud if duha ang imong statements or duha ang imong variables or duha ang imong inputs. Okay? So, when you have P and Q, unsa ganitong rule na to sa AND? The rule of AND is that you have to check if the inputs are both true for you to get a true value. So in this case, P and Q are true, so you have a true value. Kani sila, di man true, so false. Dili po true, so false. This one is di po true, di false. Basta for and but, ang imo rang bantayan is that both inputs should be true for you to get a true value. Okay? Disjunction, next. Unsa ganing disjunction? It's when you use or as connective for kanang statements. No? So, if you have P and Q statements, same thing as are, you have 4 possible combinations. Again, given na ni, di na nimo ni una-unaon. So, for sa or, if you check the kanang ang rule sa or is that you have to check if both inputs are false for you to get a false value. Otherwise, tanan true. Mapa true na siya, true, false, true, false. Again, ang imo lang bantayan if disjunction na siya or if you use or as connective, tanaw nimo if both statements or both inputs are false for you to get a false. Otherwise, it's true. So, for exclusive or, you have this symbol. Okay? Ang sa may nabantayan nimo sa exclusive or. Ang exclusive or, it gives you a false value if both inputs are the same. Otherwise, they are true. Meaning, if they're not the same, they're always true. If they're the same, they're always false. That's exclusive OR. Sa NAND punta, sa may nabantayan na to sa NAND, ang NAND is, if both inputs are true, then you'll get a false. Otherwise, true tanan. No? Lahi man tong OR. Kaya if both inputs are false, then you'll get false. Lahi pod ang AND, di ba? So sa NAND, baliktad. Ang NAND, if you get two inputs, if you get two true inputs, you'll get a false. Otherwise, it's true. Sa NOR, kaning NOR, lahi pod sa baliktad sa NAND. Kaya ang NOR kay, when you get two inputs nga false, you'll get a true. Otherwise, false sila tanan. Conditional, I think, diri ang naay nga libog dyan ani. Now, here's the rule for conditional connectives. Nga, ingani ang iyang sign. So, for conditional connectives, the rule is, if your inputs are both true or both false, meaning if your inputs are the same, you always get a true value. Otherwise, dili pa kamo hatag og di pa kamo hatag og value dayon, kay you also have to check the value of the statement where the arrow is facing. So in this example, P arrow Q, asa man nag-face si arrow na sa Q. So in this case, basta gani dili pareha ang iyahang value, meaning true or false or true, you always have to check the value of Q. Kay mao may giatubangan sa arrow. So in this case, since true or false, we have to get the value of Q. False and true, still true because that's the value of Q. Okay? So, magbase ka, if dili pareha sila, ang imong kuhaon nga value is kung asa nagatubang ang arrow. Kay it can be also Q, arrow P. So, in that case, you have to follow the value of P. Dili ang Q. So, ingana ang conditional. Sa biconditional pod, if both statements are the same, you always get a true value, and if not, it's false. So, mo na siya. So, we have here the example. We have here an example. 5, for P, we have 5 is an integer. Q, square root of 3 is an integer, and R, 2 divides 4. Again, we always have to get the value of this one, true value of this one first, no? Before we can compute this one, no? So first, maghimo tag table para ana. I mean, kanang solution. Ibutang nimo kung sa true value nila. So for P, 5 is an integer. Sakto di, it's true. Sa Q, square root of 3 is an integer kuno. It's false because when you calculate this one, it already has a decimal point. You will get a decimal point man ani, so it's no longer an integer. And then for R, 2 divides 4, it's true kay makadivide man og 2 sa 4. Okay? So, after ana, we will make a table na. Since we have 3 variables here, or 3 statements, we have P, Q, R. And then, as you can see, we're adding 2 columns here for these statements. Kaning nasa ubos. First, when you get the value of the whole statement na nasa A, you have to consider first the statements within the parentheses. Mo na unahon ni muna usare, no? So in this case, 2 divides 4. asa man ang 2 divides 4? 2 divides 4 is R. So, R. Or, kani, or, mo na siya nga symbol, 5 is an integer. Unsa may 5 is an integer? P. So, R or P. Mo na ikwaon yung mga value. Next, once you get the value of this one, you will also get the value of this and this. So, this one and unsa may 2 divides 4, that's R. Morning, kay R or P and R. Okay, let's do it one by one, ha? So, for P, we have the value of true. May diba ito na nag-determine unsa na yung value ni ana, true or false ba? Are. So, for Q, we have false, R, true. And then, we're going to solve this one. So, R or P. Unsa ganito rule na to sa P? We're going to solve for R and P. Ang iyang value is true and true. So, unsa gani value na to sa OR? Unsa ganito itiman na to? If it's OR, you are going to check if both inputs are false to get a false. Otherwise, it's true. So, since wala may false in laan, di man pud pareha nga false. So, the value is true. So, now that you have kanang solve the value of R or P, we can solve the true value of R or P and R. Kaninang whole statement, ano yung mga solve na to. So, R or P and R, kaning duha na po ng imong itandi. So, sa AND, remember sa AND na to, the rule sa AND is, unsa ganitong AND? Here's the AND. Ang imong timan-an sa AND is that if you have true nga duha ka buok na inputs, you will get a true. Otherwise, it's false. So, balik. Here, this one and this one. Kung naa kay duha nga true, mang timan-anin mo, duha ka true nga inputs, so you will get a true value. That's why this is true. Okay? Same thing sa letter B. 5 is not an integer and square root of 3 is an integer. And 2 divides 4. So, sa usahon sa nato niya, we still get the value of P, Q, R. But since this is 5 is not an integer, and our original statement is 5 is an integer, so there should be a negation here of the P statement. Atong i-appeal ang ingana, not P. No? And then, once na natin not P, 5 is not an integer and square root of 3 is an integer. Okay? Not P and Q. No? Mama ng Q. 2 divides 4. 3. Excuse me. Square root of 3 is an integer. Mama ano? Not P and Q, which is square root of 3, is not an integer. Okay? And then, once you have that value, you can proceed with this connective. Nga dungagan na po nimo og value sa R, which is 2 divides 4. Okay? Kana. So, again, the value of P is true, Q is false, R is true. So, we need to get the value of not P man. So, if P is true, so not P should be false. No? Once we get the value of not P, we can combine it with the connective of AND, kaning not P and Q, F and F. Unsa ganito sa F? Mag-base ta sa F if both mag-base ta ning duha Q and P, and mag-base ta kung both statements are true to get a true value. Otherwise, it's false. That's why we have a false value here. Next, once we get the value of this one, we can proceed with the whole statement. Mauna ni siya. Diba? Kaning naaning parenthesis. and kaning 2 divides 4, which is the r. No? So, kani siya kay mao man nga value, gi-or nimo sa r, sa ganitong or, magbantay ka if both statements are false to give you not P and Q. Not P and Q is false. Gi-add nimo sa R. This one. Gi-add nimo sa R. So if it's and, you have to check if both statements are true to get a true value. Otherwise, it's false. That's why the value here is false. So kani siya mag-construct ka kanyo truth table. Same thing. Ang imong gamiton ra ani dapita is the possible combinations for two statements. So pwede true true, true false, false true, and false false. But you have to get the true value given this statement. So unsa man ni, since nakay Q, but in the statement here there's not Q man, so you have to include this one here, not Q, before you can get the value of the whole thing. Kani. No? So if P and Q are true, ang not Q ani is, if Q is true, not Q is false. No? So kung imong isolve na ang P and not Q, asa man ka mag-base ani? P o not Q. I-add nimo na silang duha since mao na siya connective nga gigamit here. And unsa itong rule sa and, you have to check if both inputs are true to get a true value. Otherwise, it's false. Okay? Next, if the statement, if P and Q are true or false, if the Q is false, then the not Q is true. If the not Q is true, mo na ibutang mo ani not true, not Q, true, and P, and man. If both inputs are true, then it gives you a true value. Here, if the Q is true, not Q is false, the same as this one. So it gives you a false value here. And then if the Q is false, then the not Q is true, then it gives you a false value here. Okay? So same thing ra imong gamiton ani hangtod ani. Ang nakalahi lang ani niya is you have three variables or you have three statements. So for three statements, your combinations should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One is possible combinations if your variables are, or if your statements are 3. Pwede na bukupyaon mo na, kung may tayo pasobon mo truth table, you can copy this one. Kaya di na mo-outro. O pwede masalag sa laal, pero mugawas gyapon na siya, ng combination. And then, what you're going to solve is this. Hangtod, makakuha ka sa tibok ani. So, if you have PQR, then you have to check first the value of P and Q. And then, when you have gotten the value of P and Q, then you will get the value of the not P and Q. Kay ang negation na may imong kuhaon ani, if the value here is true, then not P and Q is false. Imo rang baliktaron are. So kung naa na ka ani, kani na po isunod nimo kani plus kani. So naa na kay answer ani, isunod na po nimo kaning or R. Imo na po ning i-compare ang kani o R. Like this one. Or man gigamit nimo when you try to connect the value of this one and R using or. Okay, or may gigamit ani. So or, you have to check if both inputs are false in order for you to get a false. Otherwise, it's true. So this one is true. Okay, di man both false. False, false, false. Ang the rest ani dili na false, that's why it's true. Nga naon ra pagsuot. No? And then sa converse form, kani pod napoy nang tanan no. Say for example, if conditional statement, if he finds C special, conditional man kay syempre it uses if then, if it's an if then statement man, so we can consider this one as conditional statement. Okay, so mo ni siya original statement nimo regardless if it's true or false. Ang iyang truth value niya ma true or false mo na imuhang default value nimo. No, yan naara nimo na og baliktaro nimo na or naara nimo na kung kani mo i-follow kani ba or kani, but usa-usa ko man nato and kanang gipangayuan man tawag converse, inverse o contrapositive. Kay sa inyong exam ang good kay when nay naglibog because it uses kanang the original statement has the word not, and she considers it as kanang negation already, but in fact it's not a negation pa, mao na siya default statement. That's the original statement katong given niya na ay not. So if you negate that one, it should be a statement without the word not. No? So in this example, if he finds you special, then he likes you. No? So asa may imong P ani? This is your conditional statement man, and when you get the value of P and Q, maayo jud kung iuna nimo ang himuon nimo ning P and then kanimo himuon nimo Q aron di ka malibog, no? So if you're going to ask for the converse, ang converse form ni ani kay Q, if Q then P kuno. So imong P manim na P Q. If he likes you, then he finds you special. Kaya mo manim P Q. Again, P Q. Converse ni mo siya is Q. If Q, then P. So if he likes Q, then he finds you special. Sa inverse form niya is negative P or not P, then not Q. If not P, then not Q. If, baliktad ani, if he doesn't find you special, then he doesn't like you. So, mo na inverse niya. Sa contrapositive pod, ang iyang giingon dire is, if not Q, then not P. Baliktad. Negation ani, pero unahon ni mo ni, then negation ni ani. No? So, if he doesn't like you, then he doesn't find you special. So, mauna siya. And then for module 4, almost same naman ato. It's just that you have to determine if the answer is tautology, contingency, or sa itong sa contradiction. Mailanin mo kung tautology na siya kay the answer sa tibok statement niya is all true, and if it's contradiction or absurdity, answer niya tanan is false. Ug contingency po na siya, di mo mahibawan, can be true or false. Propositional form, which is neither a tautology nor a contradiction. So wala nila. Ang iyang itsura is parehan na ay true na ay false. So ingana ra siya. So I hope klaro na ang tanang mga maora man ni. Imo ra gyapon ko ang atong value, then follow the rules of kanang logic sa connectives. Then you will get the value. Then you will see if it's a tautology or unsa na diha. So kani siya proving na siya if it's valid. If these are all true, this statement is valid. That means the argument is valid. So I hope nakasabot-sabot na ang tanan. If wa pa jud, pwede mo maari dire. You can come here in school. So ma-explainan mo na ko na po jud na subject. But ug magtuon lang jud mo ani unya kanang be observant sa inyong kanang like for example sa mga tables ug bisan ani gikuha yung ani niya magtan-aw pag mo YouTube, I'm sure masabtan ninyo ni. Okay? Okay, that's all for now. And I hope next time mutan-aw po mo sa kanang Google or YouTube for you to understand more about the modules kay unsaon man maglisod man jud tag discuss ug lisod pud og sige tag kanang video ingani no, but you can if ever you have kanang questions or you're still confused after exhausting all your kanang after exhausting all means like you've researched already in Google or check the YouTube for some examples and still confused gapon mo, you can always ask me. Okay, thank you.